And a very good morning to you. This is the Talk of the Town. Our guest this morning is the CEO of the award-winning Advocata Institute, Mr. Dhananath. Fernando, good morning to you, Dhananath. And let me get straight to the point. The IMF have given us their facility and so on. The first tranche came in. Now the hard work of negotiating with people who have lent Sri Lanka money begins. Are Sri Lankans, especially those in the financial services industry, do you think they're sufficiently justified in being worried about any form of domestic debt restructure in terms of perhaps a haircut or a cut in the capital amount? What do you say?
Good morning, Faraz. I think everyone is slightly concerned, but we all have to wait till actually the central bank and the government announces the perimeter of the domestic debt restructuring. My view is most likely there will be a postponement of the debt repayments, or in other terms, maturity extension, because as we have spoken before, about 36% of the banking sector revenue is from the interest coming from the government securities. So my view is most likely it will be a maturity extension, but however, we have to wait till the government announces their final plan.
And Dhananath, what about the growth? The IMF says, I think, around 2 to 3%. Is this the kind of growth that Sri Lanka needs, especially when our economy has already contracted?
No, for us, definitely we need growth more than 2%, 3%, because generally, even if you do not do anything, the economy ideally should grow at about 1 to 2%, given the context or like the dynamics of our economy. So basically, we have to grow out from this crisis. For that, we need more economic growth. I think the only possible way to do that is through global trade, because we are a trading hub. Only when we do trade and being competitive is the only way out for us to have more growth. And definitely more growth is required. The IMF projection is not sufficient. What they have projected is, I think, given the current situation of the economy, but as the government of Sri Lanka and our policymakers should make sure there are better economic policies or more growth-enhancing economic policies for us to move forward. What IMF brings is only the stability. We need to move beyond stability and get more growth for the betterment of our people.
And last question, Dhananath, what about the fact that Sri Lanka seems to have taken all the hits, and with the economy contracting and it's down to from the previous high of say $83 billion, how will Sri Lanka cope with having to meet its to try and increase our economy, get it going again, when we have little or no dollars to play around with, and certainly not enough one bit to fund our imports of raw materials, because lots of our manufacturing industries dependent on imported raw materials are actually experiencing a severe downturn in their production.
Yes, for us, we have to do economic reforms to overcome the crisis and basically to unblock our growth. So basically we have to do reforms on the state-owned enterprises, and also we have to do reforms on the regulatory barriers that we have for exports and imports. That's the only way that we can earn dollars and do move ahead with the necessary imports. The challenge is we should make sure that the debt restructuring that we are going to do is the first and last in our history, because the worst could be that we will do a debt restructuring which is not adequate, and then just in the middle of the process again going for another debt restructuring. I think that's what we have to avoid at any cost. So mainly for us to earn more dollars, it's mainly unblocking the barriers that we have, because Sri Lankans are capable of earning dollars. It is just the regulatory and the other barriers which is in the economy is what is blocking them. So basically we have to do the labor market reforms, the capital market reforms, and some of the land reforms. At the same time, there are other key reforms like the reforms in the state-owned enterprises and so on and so forth, which we have given a detailed commentary. I think that's the way forward.
And that's the way it was on the Talk of the Town this morning with Dhananath Fernando, the CEO of the award-winning Advocata Institute. Now it's time to return to Domina's anchor on the Morning Fix.